we are grateful to be here tonight, to be able to present to you and have you engage with us, and to have you be a part of Healing Pain Through the Arts Youth Speak Out podcast. And tonight we have our COVID-19 Youth Awareness event, episode actually. So I am Amber Lyon, CEO and founder of From Pain to Purpose. This is a segment of our organization. We're a nonprofit organization located in Stone Mountain, Georgia. And this actual podcast, Youth Speak Out podcast, is our part of our youth program. Healing Pain Through the Arts is our youth program, which we do so many various different things to be able to uplift our youth, to educate our community, to celebrate the gifts and talents of our youth, and to cultivate love and healing. So we actually have a podcast that's called Youth Speak Out. What it is it gives it gives a platform for our youth to have an expressive voice, to be able to share the social issues, their thoughts, their feelings, their heart about the social issues that are in our lives, in our world today that pertain to them. So with everything that was going on, you can find us actually on Spotify. So you can actually find You Speak Out podcast on Spotify. Check us out. We've got some dope episodes up there that these young people have been a part of. And what we're going to do now is we're going to first of all, thank our panel for being with us tonight and for being a part of what we do. I love working with these young people, these young kings and this young queen, and so many other youth. And we're gonna actually give them the floor tonight. We have some questions for them. Our people that are joining us online, we see you, Yvette. Thank you for joining. And we're going to ask you to please share. As you come in, please share the broadcast so that others can actually come in and be a part of it. If you have a question or something that you'd like to share with our panelists, please do so. So I'm going to introduce the panelists. Actually, I'm going to ask them to introduce themselves. So we're going to start to my top right. They probably get my top right. We have the two brothers up in the right-hand corner. We're going to ask you to start introducing yourself, so the people can know who you are. Then we'll go to our young lady, and then last, Taylor.
I am the younger brother. My name is Andrew. What else? Is that it?
Okay, introduce yourself. Tell how old you are, and whether you're in school, where you are in school, and just leave it at that. Don't go any deeper, and or your occupation.
Okay. Well, I am. I'm 23 years old. I attend Georgia State University as an online student now. And I work at a restaurant.
Andrew, we need you to speak up a little bit louder. Can you repeat that, please?
I am 23 years old. I work at a restaurant. I attend Georgia State University. And that's it.
Okay. Thank you for being here tonight. Next.
I'm Christian. I am 26 years old. I am out of school, but I work at CarMax in the service center.
Okay. Thank you for joining us, Christian. Next.
Hey, hi, I'm Ashton. I am a Georgia State student too, now taking all of my classes online. I work in accounting, but I want to be a reporter.
You work where?
In accounting.
I think you have a little bit of feedback on your side.
In accounting.
Okay. I just want people to be able to hear you clearly.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So thank you for being with us tonight, Ashton. Next.
I'm Emmanuel. I'm 21. I go to Kennesaw State University. I don't work.
Yeah, school and or occupation. Okay, so this is our panel for tonight, everyone. And we have some questions that we want to actually kick off. and have our young people share their views on what we're dealing with right now. So the first question is, has the COVID-19 pandemic, social distancing, stay home mandate caused you to become fearful? And in addition to that, if so, or if not, do you find yourself praying more than you have before? And has your faith been a solace for you during this time?
You done asking the question?
Yeah.
That's the first question,
Is there an order?
with 3 prongs to it. Oh, Emmanuel, let's start with you.
Oh, okay. I hope I remember all the prompts. Firstly, the pandemic hasn't caused me to be fearful. Just me personally, I don't get that way when it comes to situations like this. This is like the worst pandemic I've ever like lived through, but like at no point when there's ever been like heavy medical crisis or really anything that like is world shaking or changing do I like that incites fear regularly. Do I get fearful? I don't know. I just don't do that, I guess. I believe the second part was, do I find myself praying more?
Mm-hmm.
To which the answer is no, because I mean I probably should, but I'm not gonna lie. I'm not, because I don't like interpret it in a way that causes me to have fear. Like I don't like turn to like prayer to solve it, because it's just like I don't have the fear to ignite the motivation to pray more.
Mm-hmm.
And the third one, what was the third one? I just remember.
Has your faith been a source of solace? Has it been a source of comfort for you?
I'm gonna be honest and say no. Or well, in a sense, but not like. It's been a solace in the fact of like it gives me faith that like as a whole, this is something that like humanity will get through or past. But it doesn't like give me a sense of like security, because I just generally feel that like God and science don't have a like relationship where they like adhere to one another. We know that God is not limited by anything, not even what we believe that science would limit him by. And I believe that science, in a way of not science being more powerful than God or acting in a way that God can't control or deter, but I believe that science will do things that we will do things that we perceive as not a part of God's will. And I don't think that science has ever really like been like remorseful in that. And this is a very scientific issue at the like crux of it. And so like, though I like believe that like as a whole this is something that we will get through, and I have faith in that, and my faith like kind of restores in that way. It's not a thing where I'm like, I think because I'm like covered in the blood of Christ that I can't get it or anything like that. Like there's no like very real time day-to-day security against the virus for me, solely because I believe in God and like have a relationship with him. So yeah.
Okay. That's interesting. How about you, Ashton? Has this pandemic caused you to have a sense of fear about the unknown, about the possibility of contracting it, your family, your loved ones possibly contracting it? Has it been something that has caused you to pray more, or to reach out to God more? And also, has your faith been a source of solace and comfort for you during this time?
I'm not fearful. I'm just annoyed. Because literally, like, life is on pause right now.
Okay.
Go to work. And as far as like praying and everything, I'm not praying more because I'm fearful. I'm more so praying that it just gets over with so we can resume normal life.
Mhm.
And it being a solace for me. I mean, faith has always been important, but this whole situation hasn't necessarily made me turn to God a whole bunch more because I'm not necessarily scared of getting it, even if my family member's getting it, because I know I'm good and I'm gonna be fine. So
Okay.
praying that it goes ahead and passes so I can get back to living
Okay. All right. So, how about you, gentlemen?
You can go ahead. What was the first problem?
Has the COVID-19 pandemic, stay
Maybe.
at home, social distancing, has this whole thing caused you to have any type of fear?
Um, not at all. Like I just kind of like Emmanuel said, I don't really things that other whatever it is that makes the masses feel a certain way. I don't usually feel and go that direction because I know different and I know better. And not saying that everybody who is afraid doesn't know better, but I'm just saying that me personally, knowing what I know, I have no reason to be afraid. And um, I wouldn't say that it's made me play more because, like Ashley Manuel said, it hasn't made me afraid to where I felt like I had to ask him for more protection than I already asked him for, or like pray to him more than I already do. Because I feel like, one thing that I believe that God looks at is, consistency. And I attribute a lot of things that I've learned, to the days I had playing football. And our coaches used to tell us all the time, if you're running after somebody and you have to speed up or you slow down at any point during the time you're chasing somebody, you're not giving your all. You're not staying. I kind of look at it like that. Like, oh, if a situation causes me to turn to him more, then I wasn't being as consistent as I should have been. So I try to stay, pretty level and pretty balanced. And I try to, pray to him when I wake up, thankful for when I, and throughout the day, talk to him and, spend more time with him. Not necessarily like just pray to him and asking him for, protection, because honestly, the only reason I feel like everybody's calling it a pandemic is because authorities and acting powers have called it a pandemic. I've looked at the numbers over and over and over, and just doing ratios in my head, it just doesn't seem like it's enough to be what it is, what's going on right now. I looked up a week ago. I looked up an article from CNN that was in December talking about flu cases, flu illnesses, and the flu season starts late September ish, and then usually ends around May because it's when it's cold out, you catch a cold. And in December 13th, 2019, this is CNN. I don't know if the article is still up, but it said that there was over 1,300 deaths in America alone from the flu in 2 months.
Mm-hmm.
And that was from late September to December, 1,300 people, and over, I think, 2 point something million illnesses. And now it's up to 54 million in illnesses, flu illnesses, just the flu. And a lot of cases, the symptoms of the flu are a lot worse than the symptoms that you get from coronavirus. So if I'm sitting here looking at the coronavirus numbers and the flu numbers, the flu has always been here. The flu is still going to be here. And so is this virus. This is the way I see it. I feel like this is all, it has some sort of agenda behind it because it just doesn't make any sense. And I'm hoping for regular life to resume as well. I'm hoping for people to just kind of figure it out. Like, this just doesn't make sense. But that's what
Okay.
No, I was
Christian?
has it caused me to be fearful? No. If I wouldn't say fearful, I just think it just caused me to be more cautious.
Mm-hmm.
Because me having to be at work, I don't want to put my family in jeopardy, so I try to be as cautious as possible while I'm at work. But I'm with Ashton. I'm not really fearful. It's just annoying. Like, it's the effects it's having on everyday life. I guess you could say life was different than it was. Well, it is different than it was before, and
Very different.
and it's kind of annoying. So I'm just ready for the normal way of. Well, I don't even think we'll go back to a normal way of life after this. So
everything is completely
the
changed.
one, I don't want to say positive, but the one good thing about it is there's no traffic.
But you know what? That's not everywhere, because I was talking to your cousin the other day, and she said the traffic out going towards Cobb County, where she has to go. She goes from Union City out to Cobb County to work. She said the traffic was horrendous. I couldn't believe it. She said, yeah, it was terrible. And yesterday I saw something online that talked about I-95 being backed up out of Florida. You should have seen the line of cars, because they actually have set up a stop point for people to be checked before they went into Florida, and they're going to be put on a quarantine. So the traffic, I don't know, people think this is a time to go on vacation and just chill out and hang out at the beach and whatever. We're gonna get to all of that. But you should have seen that line of traffic. So most places like our hoods and stuff, the traffic is light. I haven't been out there lately, so I don't, as far as traffic is concerned, but I do believe that it's a lot lighter, because when I was out there, it was when I was still going to work. So it's interesting that you guys all answered no to fearful. And I'm glad to hear that, because I didn't expect to hear that you guys were fearful, because I know your generation, and not a lot phases you guys when it comes to, being afraid for certain things. It probably has to hit something like really, really, really close to home to draw some. And I'm not looking for you to be fearful or to make you fearful. What I was asking, the question was so that we can be able to address that for you and be able to give you some peace in that area, because, and the question was not based on fear because we're scared of what's going to happen, because I'm certainly not afraid either, because I know there's a God that protects us and that has me in the palm of, and my family and my loved ones and this world in the palm of his hands. But as far as praying more, the praying was not based on fear. The praying was more or less, and although the question was attached, the praying was just more about, it could be about fear, but more like aligned with your faith, that you believe God to eradicate this thing, to change this thing, to heal people. And that's what my question more was about. So it's interesting to hear you guys, to know that I was on point with what I thought you guys were going to answer in regards to fear. And I'm glad that you're not fearful, because when you're not fearful, you can help encourage other people. Have you had to do that? Have you had to, any of your friends have been fearful, or your class schoolmates? Have you had your coworkers? Have you had to actually be the voice of reason or the source of peace for other people? Have you had to experience that?
The only person freaking out is my mom.
Say that again, Ashton.
The only person freaking out is my mom.
Your mom?
She's trying to ban me from going to my office to work, saying that there's 36 people in our county that have it. And I'm just like, it's not that deep. I'll be perfectly fine.
See, the concern with that is, and that's going down into one of our other questions, but that's going further down into, but we can go ahead and move into that. The concern with that is, like Christian said, they're home and they're being self-isolated and self-quarantined. So you're taking the precautions to be safe, and you have people like yourself or Christian who have to actually go, or other people like the nurses, the doctors, the people who are on the front line who have to go to work every day. Every time you go out and interact with other people, you are taking a risk and possibly exposing yourself to the virus. and to someone else that may have it, that may be asymptomatic. You don't know they have it. They may not even know that they have it. So that's why the social distancing is important, because if you do have to go to work or you do have to go out to the grocery store, wherever have you, take your precautions that we all know we do. You know, we know the washing of the hands. We know people are wearing gloves, people are wearing face masks, you know, not standing, you know, giving 6 feet distance. But that also can be a risk factor for people who are at home when you go in and out every day and then you come back in, because you may be taking precautions, but maybe people you're working with are not. Maybe they touch something that you end up touching behind them and things like that. So that's where your mom's concern comes from.
Which I understand, but to me, I feel like I'm taking a risk every time I step out the house anyway. There's only 6 people in our whole office. I could work from home, but I feel like if I stay in the house all day, I'm gonna go crazy. I don't have school. I can't see my friends.
My only social interactions were school and work. Yeah. So for both of those to be taken away from me at once, it's kind of it's weird, because it's like the structure my life once had is now gone in such a short time. Like I literally remember sitting in class like, man, they ain't gonna close down no school talking about some coronavirus. 2 weeks later, my teacher come in talking about well, they just said the thing today, you guys, after y'all come back from break, y'all not coming back here basically for 2 weeks, and then it was eventually they decided to just close it out for the rest of the semester, which is I'm pretty sure they're playing the whole time. But it was
we're getting to that portion of our conversation. Before we get to that, so Ashton, you are going out to work every day?
Mm-hmm. They pretty much shut our office down for the most part. Mainly everybody's working from home. My mom's working from home. There's maybe like 5 or 6 people in there. But I need to leave the house in some capacity, even if it's just to sit somewhere else for 8 hours. I need a change of environment. I can't stay in my room all day, every day.
So what if the National Guard came in and shut the whole city down? What would you do?
Well, then I'm gonna go crazy.
We got no choice. Like,
I don't have a choice, but it's just like having your schedule changed and everything else just ripped away from you so fast. I can't even go sit at a restaurant. Nothing.
That's the world right now.
Yeah. So I understand the sacrifice, but until they force me to stay home from work, I'll be going.
And then I'm honestly on the same tip too. I done been jogging out at Lenore for the past couple of days just because I needed to get
you gotta get just for your sanity.
See, you going jogging is like you going for a walk. That you're not interacting with people. You know, they said it's okay to, go for a walk, to be able to get some sort of fresh air if you have to. But when you're and I know people have to work, but I'm not talking about people that have to work. People that refuse to stay home because they're going to go crazy. That's a different thing, because God forbid, if you did bring that virus in your home, you would not feel good about that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something to consider during these times. Okay, so this being said, in the news media and on various platforms and media platforms, that the youth are not taking this whole COVID-19 coronavirus stay-at-home social distancing serious. I.e., okay, they're saying that you guys are not taking it serious. Like, you have people going to the beach still, people going, playing basketball. Now you are actually physically interacting with other people. You're bumping into them. You're putting your hands on the same ball. There's sweat, all of that stuff. Can you guys speak to that issue, and why is it so hard? First of all, how do you feel about that? And second of all, why do you feel it's so hard? Ashton kind of already addressed her issue. She will go crazy. Why do you feel it's so difficult for you guys to stay home? And families are having battles, like with youth your age. Like, you can't go do this, you can't go do that. And they're like, well, why not? Why not? I still need to live my life, but life has changed. So speak to that for me, Emmanuel.
I can't from a personal like place really speak to it. I can speak to it in a like very observational way, but like I don't leave the house. I don't have a job. My life was school and like rehearsal and performing in the organizations that I'm in at my school. All of that's dead now, like forever, for infinity. Well, I finished school in May.
It's
so
lit.
My life is now nothing. I do nothing. I go nowhere. Well, I do homework online all day, and that's it. So I can't speak to like the measures of like people who are just still like leaving a lot more cavalier in the sense of what their mentality is. My greatest guess is honestly that they don't care, and either that they don't care or that they just like it's more important for them, whether it be for their mental health or just their like state of like their sense of schedule and routine, to be able to live their life and not have that infringed upon than like the risk of having the infection or giving it to someone else. That could be my only guess to like that mentality. But I can say that as someone who's in the youth, like people are the youth don't care or aren't taking it seriously. It's like a very like bad overgeneralization.
Mm-hmm.
And very unhealthy overgeneralization. I know people who this has completely changed their entire life, not in the sense of just like whether or not they go out, but like even down to like the amount of stress and anxiety and fear that they are now like living under. That is consistent. It doesn't change. It doesn't matter like if they're keeping abreast of the news or not, just knowing they're in this situation. It's high stress, high anxiety, high fear, and that's what's literally driving their mind 24 hours out of the day, 7 days out of the week. So I know people like that, and then I know people who have to leave because I have my roommates work in the medical professional field. He has to go to work like physically. That he doesn't have a way out of that. And then I know people who are like still going to their friend's house or like linking up with people. And what I can say, is that I don't take it as like this is the youth. It's just different people handle things different ways. In the same vein that I know young people who are doing all those things, I know old people who are doing all those things, that are medical professionals who have to go to work, who are just leaving the house every day for whatever reason, and who are bogged down, living in fear, stress, and anxiety, and not, completely change the way that they are. I don't, as much as it's for people observing it as a generational issue, as someone who's young and observing it, I see it more as a person case-by-case issue. And I just think that there are people in general who aren't going to let it infringe upon their ability to leave the house because that's more important to them. And then there are people who are literally, you would think this is the apocalypse, the way that they are completely reclusing, not leaving the house for even the necessities when they should be leaving the house. I just see that all as different people handling this very unique situation in different ways. The only insight I could have that speaks to anything other than that was when the virus first hit America, kind of like reports saying that it doesn't affect young people the same way. And so that gave some young people a sense of security, but most people since then have learned that that's not necessarily the case. It's really case by case. Being young usually helps because it takes you away from other risk factors, like respiratory issues and things of that nature, and like just having a weakened lungs and respiratory system. But it doesn't make you immune, and I think all young people pretty much know that now. They're taking whatever liberty they wish in whatever direction, and I just think that speaks more to the person than it does like how old they are.
Okay, well, that's very valid in your viewpoints in regards to, it depends on that particular person, but there has just been a lot in the news and on media platforms in regards to youth trying to get the attention of the youth. And this is one of the reasons why we are having this podcast. We want to take just a station break and acknowledge some of the people that are with us in our broadcast. Again, we want to thank Linda Platt for being here. We want to thank Vanessa Henderson, Yvette Clayton, Doris Bridges, Jamaica Baker. We want to thank Pastor Nedra Buckmeyer, Kareem Youngblood. Hey, Kareem, he's watching from New York City. Thank you for joining us. Sean Jackson is watching. Pastor Nedra said when you were speaking, she said true in regards to what you were saying. So does anybody else have anything to add to that particular question? Because we want to move into, because Ashton kind of tapped into that. Drew, you kind of tapped into it a little bit. Christian, do you have anything that you want to add to that before we move into our next question? Or if you have anything more you want to add, you guys go ahead.
I know a lot of young people with authority issues already that don't listen to their parents. So some not imaginary, but for me, I don't know any faces when it comes to like politics. So like for me, the mayor or Governor Gwinnett saying that we issuing
The
a
governor
lockdown.
of Gwinnett.
Whoever run this county,
Mayor.
yeah, him. Wait, it's her. I don't know. But whoever they are, you know, for like when it's almost like thin air for kids because they don't understand that type of stuff. So it's like, what is a shutdown? What is this? I can't go here? You're gonna tell me that I can't go here when I want to, so I'm gonna do it. And you know, as a kid, when your parents tell you no, don't do this, the first thing you want to do is do exactly what they just told you not to. Even though, you know, your parents know why they told you not to do it, and they're not just, you know, trying to be a party people. They're you know, trying to help you. Most people don't see it that way. They just see it as, oh, they're telling me I can't do something, so I'm gonna go do it. Because I'm not gonna lie. When I was on my spring break was 2 weeks ago, I was with Emmanuel. I didn't care. I honestly did not care at all. Like, for a good, because that was the week it started. That was the week the self-quarantine really started. I was just like, man, I'm not staying inside. I'm going to go out. I'm going to do what I'm still going to do, regardless of whatever. And as I see how much more, you know, they're trying to be serious about it, I understand. As I said earlier, it doesn't make sense to me, but I understand. And I'm going to do my part, but I still don't care. I'm going to just do my part.
You don't care about what?
I don't care about the fact that I'm supposed to be inside, you know, because I didn't drive for like 3 years. So this was my life for a while. So I'm not really.
Oh, I see what you're saying.
Like
it's not stressing you.
Yeah. Good.
You're not about to lose your mind like Ashton, right?
Well, I had like 7.
Okay, I just want to say, I'm not out here. I'm not going out with my friends. I'm not going to parties. I'm not, doing stuff willy-nilly. I've only been to work, and I'm only going because literally everybody who's in the office sits on opposite sides of the building. So I'm not even near anybody. We're just in there. I come in, I sit at my desk for 8 hours, and then I leave and I come home. I'm not just like out saying, all right, I don't care.
You're not there all willy-nilly in these streets, right?
No, I'm not in the streets at all.
If you live with you want to leave the house too.
What you say, Christian?
If you live with who she lived with, you want to leave the house too.
There's a lot of people here. We already at the limit anyway.
Some of y'all gotta leave.
Okay, so now this is we have some comments. Pastor Nedra said, bless him. Linda Platt said, thank you, youth, for no fear, but being cautious. Good evening, Cheryl Roberts. Thank you for joining us Pastor Nedra said, hi, Ashton. And Yvette Clayton said, love these young king and queen strength. Yes. So let's move into our next question that we have for you guys. How has the shutdown affected or impacted you personally with school, work, family income? Possibly some of your family members may have been furloughed or laid off, or still have to go to work, like you two, and could possibly contract the virus and bring it back into the house. We don't pray that, but there is that possibility, that risk factor, that interacting with others, going to a workspace, it can happen. How has that affected you personally? Because I find that as a community, we talk at the youth, but we don't give them a platform or an opportunity to hear what's on their heart. How is this affecting you? And I put an article in our the Healing Pain Through the Arts group before we started, and people should look at it, about how these types of pandemics and these type of structural and schedule changes, yes, young people can adjust, but sometimes it can have mental health, can cause depression, different types of illness in your body. So how has it impacted your life personally? Each one of you, we want to hear from you guys. Somebody jump in.
Aside from permanently being on house arrest, that's really it. Honestly, the fact that I now have to do all my work online. I was a student that went to class and actually was in a building sitting down, brick and mortar. But now I'm stuck at home, so it makes me it's making me rethink about what life is really all about. Honestly, not in the sense like what's the true meaning, like what's my purpose type, but like what is okay. So what I have been doing, I realized one, I depend on other facets of me, putting my feet on the ground in order for me to get money. And then two, I realized how much I'm dependent on the world around me. And I for a long time I've dreamt about in my adult years when I was well off and had more money to my name and was able to spend freely and had that freedom. I wanted to get into self-sufficiency because I wanted to learn how to for stuff like this. Like if I can I have a garden in my backyard. I don't have to worry about food. Maybe only like going to the grocery store for certain things, but I with what I've started to but started to focus on is the future, because at some point this has to end. This isn't gonna last forever, and I don't know how long they're gonna drag it out. But I'm confident it won't be a season change. Like I don't think, besides us going into in the summer in the near future, like I don't think that we're gonna be still indoors when the fall comes. If that makes sense. So I'm just focusing on how to use this time to work on my craft, work on what I want to do with the rest of my getting paid for. So
Okay, so yours is more school and work. It's impacted you in regards to your personal life. How has it made you feel bad, like about what, like school just being abrupted, like you can't make no money?
not bad. And if anything, it's made me
upset, mad.
I mean, I've been through those emotions, but if anything, it's made me empathetic, thinking about people who aren't in the same position me and my brother in, who don't have parents that love them and will provide for them until their job is done. People who have moved out on their own, have been living on their own. Some of my friends, just like me, have to file for unemployment because they're out of state for college. So they're in Florida, they're in Mississippi or wherever they're at, and their parents are here. It's only so much that they can do because they don't know what their parents are going through, this, that, and third. So it's made me more just think about like the world, like what's really going on.
I'm glad to hear that empathy. That's a good emotion to have towards others. We're going to jump from Andrew down to Ashton, then to Emmanuel and Christian. Ashton, how has this impacted you personally?
Personally, the most of this affecting me is just with school. I'm sure Emmanuel probably feels the same way. Like, it's my senior year. This is supposed to be like my last couple months of college, and we didn't even know our last day was going to be our last day. So it's just like abruptly ends. We transfer to online. You don't get to have like that last day with classmates or say bye to some of your favorite professors and stuff like that. So that was one thing. Like, no commencement ceremony, nothing. You're just kind of like, okay, finish your classes online and you're done. Congrats, and that's it.
Mm-hmm.
As far as work and stuff, I thank God that I have a job where I didn't have to get furloughed or anything. I think we're considered an essential business. So me and my mom are both secure during this whole time. And I know that a lot of people in my situation don't have that. And I don't personally struggle with anything like mental health wise that's that serious, at least. But I'm also like empathetic with people going through that who already have problems with like self-isolation, and now they're kind of forced to do it and don't have a say in what's going on around them.
Okay, awesome. I know the devastation of your senior year. What was your graduation date?
It was going to be, I think, like May the 3rd or something like that, like the first week in May.
Has it been postponed or canceled?
Canceled. They said they'll celebrate us whenever they celebrate us, basically, and that they're just going to send diplomas in the mail.
Lord have mercy, Jesus.
It will be like a virtual ceremony, like name scrolling on the screen or something, like a call.
They didn't say nothing. They just said we will not be gathering.
See, that right there is devastating, not just for you guys, but the families who have sacrificed for 4 years to wait to celebrate this time. So we know that everything that's going on, but I personally think that they just, they canceled the graduations and postponed them so fast.
Yep.
So they didn't even give it a chance to see if it was going to recover. Before we went into all of this, 10 people, it was canceling and shutting down stuff. So, Emmanuel, you go on and share how it has impacted you.
Yeah, Ashton just started talking about it. Biggest effect was having me at school. But not in way to say that like the effect it has on me with school is greater than anyone else. But I'm a theater student. Online classes literally just don't work. I can't learn online. There are like certain facets of our class that like exist online when it comes to work, but like especially specifically the Kennesaw State University Theater and Performance Studies like department, the learning happens in the interaction, and that's at every level. It doesn't really matter what courses you're taking. The learning doesn't happen from like just reading the plays and writing about them. It happens in the room when we're discussing as a unit and this, that, and third. And that's across the board. And so, like Ashton said, going from someone who's in their final semester, I was in a play. We were in the midst of rehearsals. There was, aside from just the play that I was a cast member in, there was another event that we were doing, the New Works Festival, where I was going to be performing one of my solo pieces in. I was in rehearsals for that on my own personal time with my personal director. I have written a one-man show that I was in rehearsals for because I was going to do a demoed reading of my one-man show at the end of the semester. I'm in KISS, which is the improv troupe at our school. We had both the college improv tournament, we made it to nationals, and our final spring showcase. That doesn't exist. I'm in an organization that I've been a part of since its inception, KSU Colors, which is a performance performance-based organization centered around identity. And I'm on the e-board for that as well as a member. All of that's gone. I'm a representative for DUSK, Diverse and Unified Students in Kennesaw, which is also something that I was there for the creation of.
How many organizations are you in?
I'm not even me like speaking in conceit. I'm a staple within my department. I'm someone who's in there like created impact, and I'm someone that people look to, and I'm in these organizations because a lot of them I was there when they began. Like, and you know, where we're trying to have those things live on, like virtually, like me being a desk rep and the Colors e-board we're trying to set up for next year for, you know, what's no longer there, but for the future of these organizations, the performance-based things, and then just the education. Mine is now completely halted, changed, and like basically dead. I'm not learning. Like, I'm just gonna be honest.
Yeah.
I'm not learning a single thing because the learning I was doing was a part of the community that we have as a department, and it's the in-class work that we do. Once we take that away, there's no learning to be done. And if I'm just being honest and candid, because I'm a theater major, my professors have only had a short amount of time to try and take these classes that in-class like work and meeting in class is the heart and blood of it, to try to move them to all online formats. And though I respect their attempt, they've missed the mark in the sense of doing what's best utility-wise for the students. And so now I'm just doing a bunch of like busy work and like added assignments and that really are just adding stress. It's just a bunch of time-consuming, hard work that I'm getting nothing out of. I'm not learning. I know that I'm speaking not only of myself, but like my entire department. And it just, having this be my final semester of my undergrad, but also me being someone who doesn't want to continue school, so this is my final semester of school, how it ends, it's really trash. It sucks. It's terrible. I don't recommend it to anyone. I should like, and like, there's no one to really point a finger at, you know? Like, I can't be angry at anyone but like medicine, science, like who I can. There's no, because it would be irresponsible of the, you know, university system of Georgia to continue letting, you know, us have in-class meetings when the CDC and WHO and everyone is saying we shouldn't even be meeting in groups of 10, and that doesn't, like, if you're on campus, you're tens of thousands of kids in the same environment at a time, you know, like, so I understand it, you know, they made the right decision when it comes to caution, but it sucks. My graduation or commencement ceremonies have been postponed indefinitely, and like, that's kind of trash because I'm not the type of person who like is big on like celebrating off of principle. I'm very much like, if you're celebrating something, it has to be like within the moment. It has to receive the essence in the minutia. I don't want to graduate 3 months after I'm done with school. I'd rather just not walk, just send me the paper, and I'd rather be done with it. I don't want to get in a gown in July and August and, you know, go on the stage for something I completed in May. There's April, really. There's no point in that for me. So all of that's just a personal effect, and like, not only myself go through it, but all of my peers go through it, and kind of having that same sour taste in our mouth, and no one to really be able to, like, there's nowhere to fuel that feeling towards. There's no direction. It's just like, have to deal.
Yes. Mm-hmm. Well, you know what? As not only the CEO and founder of From Pain to Purpose, and the I know I'm going to get to you, Christian. We have not forgotten about you. I'm just interjecting. As the founder of this organization and the CEO of this, and the visionary of this work, I'm not only that, but I am your mother, Emmanuel Lyons, aka St. Even. And I can attest to the devastation of, and I know it's not just us, high school students, graduations are being canceled, proms are being canceled, they can't take the SAT, the ACT, but I heard that colleges were waiving the SAT and ACT scores for entering freshmen. Look at Andrew, like, yo, what?
They can't make people take it, so they can't make it a part of.
Some people have already taken and gotten good scores, but some people needed to retake. But
hey, Mother dear.
That's one silver lining. But I feel I'm like Jesus. I feel I'm in touch with the feelings of your infirmity when it comes to that. We were looking for 4 years for this celebration. I mean, and
that party was gonna be so lit.
Yeah, my graduation party was gonna be a movie, and now it doesn't exist. It's so sad.
It's devastating. It really is. And we know that there's a bigger thing at work here. Their lives being lost. We don't take that for granted. We don't negate that. We don't minimize that. We do not. But at the same time, when you have worked and sold and toiled, sacrificed, have all kinds of money, all kind of whatever, heart, blood, sweat, and tears, to be able to cross that stage and have it all snatched away so quickly. I mean, they didn't even wait and say, let's see what April brings. They just said no, so it hurts not only you guys, but it hurts us too. It hurts us too. Yes.
Really quickly before Christian goes, I want to speak kind of to something you just said, because like it's also kind of become this feeling of like people like with these grievances that like me and like Ashton have like spoke about, of like having our college careers cut short or things of that nature, have been made to feel like feeling that way is really selfish and like those issues are really small. And like we understand that like it's an international pandemic. People have died. People are dying. The unfortunate is more people will die, which like is terrible. I'm not trying to be on my Vanessa Hudgens, but like it's like because of the limitations medically, and like just certain people that get it, if you're 99 and got a terrible respiratory system, it's hard to fight. Not to say like you're gonna die, but it means that like the chances of the toll of the numbers to rise is gonna continue. So because of that, and because of people who are like adjacent to that, people who've lost people who are going through, people getting sick, you've been kind of made to feel that like speaking on these types of feelings and grievances is like selfish and like really minuscule, and like we should just get over it. There are bigger things at play, and yes, there are bigger things at play. But I just hate like the pain Olympics that people try to do when like bad things are happening, and they're just like, you're not allowed to feel a way about the bad things happening to you because worse things are happening to me. Because it's like, yes, worse things are happening to you, but that doesn't like change the fact that bad things are happening to me. Like
exactly.
I'm not like ignoring the things that you and those people are going through by being, taking the time to keep on air out what I'm going through, because I just forged that, then it, now I'm just an angry, resentful little man in the world.
No, not at all. And you have a right to your feelings. I mean, it's like having the rug snatched from under you. Yes, there is a world pandemic going on, and we're praying that God would intervene and that God would eradicate this thing. But at the same time, when you have worked 4 years and seeded 4 years into that soul, into that ground, and not just that, the things that you were working on personally that you just talked about that were preparing you for post-production. I mean, the whole C4 Atlanta auditions, you was about to for the audition for like 50 different theater production companies to be able to have contracts to set you up for after you graduate. It's not just, it's a lot that's tied into that. So you have a right to your feelings. You all have a right to your feelings. And that's why this platform is so vital. People need to hear from you that you have been affected too. It's not just y'all don't want to listen and y'all just hard-headed, and y'all have been through a lot too. This has affected you guys, so this is important. I mean, I found out today that tomorrow my last day at work. I'm his mom. That means no more pay. They furloughed us today. So tomorrow, we found out this afternoon, tomorrow's our last day. But you know what? I know that God is going to provide. God will provide. He always has and he always will. So Christian, share with us, how has this pandemic, this COVID-19, this world pandemic, this stay home, this social distancing, how has that affected and impacted your life?
Well, I guess I would be on the other part of the extreme where it hasn't affected me that much because I'm still going to work. If anything, it's just slowed down how busy we are because we're the largest service center in the world. So we typically do about 50 to 55 appointments a day. And just to put it in perspective, there's a Buford store and they do 20 appointments a day. We do that in an hour. So it's been drastically slower. I find myself going to hide a lot more just so they don't ask me to do busy work. But but other than that, like it really hasn't. Church, yeah, they are. Church, we don't have church anymore
That's right.
it was go to work in church, and sometimes occasionally I go out and show my face, but that's all I did. And then we were hosting a youth night or a young adult night, a ministry service. We had to on that because of the guidelines that our elected officials have given us. For me, really, nothing has changed. I'm still going to work. I won't say nothing. It's just not as drastic as those who are in school looking forward to graduations or things of that nature. If anything, I want them to shut it down so I ain't got to go to work. They still pay me.
Well, it's. I mean, you guys have shared some powerful stuff in regards to how this has impacted you, and I just want to read you some of the feedback from some of the people that are in watching, and they are very sympathetic and empathetic towards what you guys are dealing with. So we want to just read some of these comments. Your sister Naquana Emmanuel said it will come to an end. I think Andrew Christian, somebody might have been talking about it. When is it going to end? She said it will come to an end. When Andrew was talking about empathy, your mom said yes, empathy. Naquana said empathy, compassion, grateful. Vanessa Henderson said he realized how blessed he was. I believe how blessed he is, Andrew. I believe that was you that she was talking about. And Yvette Clayton said, this is so devastating. And Naquana said, oh, sorry to hear that. And Ashton, Pastor Nedra said, oh my goodness, Ashton, with a sad face. Kareem, I don't know what he was laughing at, but he laughed at something. Doris said that can be disappointing, especially when you have worked so hard. And Vanessa Henderson said, I had put in there, Emmanuel, when people were talking about saying that you do a lot. I said, he is a leader. She said, that's true leadership. Pastor Nedra, Auntie Nedra said, wow, E, so much. Every seed and labor towards these accomplishments will bring forth fruit. And we say amen to that. Doris Bridges say, it is a blessing to see you all at such a mature place during this time. You are handling things very well. And Pastor Nedra said, we have not traversed this terrain. God will help all of us. And she put crying faces. Your sister said, Naquana, oh, you walking. She said, and we will have a party. So Mother Dear is on, and she said she's enjoying the podcast. It's very engaging in what's happening around today. She said, why Andrew have a hoodie on in the house? Is it cold? Andrew? And she said, smile.
It is cold.
So these are some of the comments that people are, they said, speak your truth. Yvette said, speak your truth. And Pastor Nedra said, everyone is feeling it for various reasons, from great and small. Naquana said, your story is your story, and your feelings are your feelings. So your feelings are valid. Pastor Nedra said, God will provide. So people are commenting, they are supporting you guys, they're giving you guys love. And I wanted to just give you that feedback in the moment so that you could be able to feel it before we go to our next question. So our next question is, how can you positively work through this most difficult and challenging time to prepare yourself for life when it returns back to a sense of normalcy or of the new normal? So what can you do positively? Now, I think Andrew touched on that a little bit and some of the things that he's been working on. So how can you guys positively prepare yourself for the future and what's after this?
I've been personally applying to every internship and job that I can find online, just because my major is journalism. I want to be like an on-camera reporter. So same thing with the manual. All of that practice kind of came to a halt because if you want to be a reporter, you have to be in the field. Field because everything's closed. So now we're kind of just having to resort to I've been doing like Skype interviews with people to get their opinion on how they're dealing with the crisis, and applying to internships and looking for jobs and just trying to figure out exactly which area I want to go into after I graduate. And then also just doing stuff that keeps me sane. Been spending a lot of time with my sisters, taking them on walks, just going to the park, just doing anything so that they can feel so like something that can just make you feel like life isn't as bad as everybody's making it seem. Definitely it helps a lot.
Okay, that's awesome, Ashton. Emmanuel, how are you preparing?
Not well, but with reason. I'm doing a lot of the things Ashton said. Literally, the moment we get off, I'm gonna like send my application for an apprenticeship program, internships, things of that nature. But for me, it's a little bit different. Well, I don't know if it's different from Ashton's situation, but I know it's different from the general situation because I'm going into a field that is reliant upon the ability of people to gather in large masses. If this doesn't go back to a place where we can have large social gatherings again, theater as an industry is going to be handicapped immensely. Broadway is done. Like Broadway in New York and Chicago, like these people who are the best of the best just showed up to work one day and was like, yeah, you're no longer working. So like if it's affecting that large of a scale, it's affecting any local theater you can think of, or anywhere in the nation, internationally, anywhere. So preparing and like on, sending in applications and things of that nature to try and like get jobs, whether it's something as simple as box office or something as, ornate as being an actor on stage, or companies for their season when they're sitting here trying to figure out if their season is going to happen. And a lot of people don't really understand how much time and work prior to what you come to see that one night as an audience member goes into creating the work. And if you're not allowed all of that time in advance, even if this ends, if it doesn't end in a particularly timely fashion when it comes to being able to have large social gatherings again, you still have to either halt or dramatically change or just cancel seasons. Then that puts a financial bind on the theaters. Now, they can't pay their actors for a year or something, whatever the case may be.
Yeah.
So it's just trying to, as someone who's leaving a student and trying to go into the professional world, stepping onto the shakiest and its most unstable ground. But with that being said, I'm just trying my best to step onto it. Outside of that, just working on my own personal craft and art, writing, both music and other forms. Like I said, I have a one-man show that I wrote, so I'm working on,
which we will be producing too.
Yeah, well, like I said, I have a one-man show. Poetry and all that other jazz, just like trying to still be a creative outlet and not be halted in this time. It's very hard when you're in the house all day, every day, to find the time to, or the motivation to be inspired. To create. A lot of people are just like, you're home now. you can work nonstop. Like that's like
No.
not.
Who works nonstop at home? Unless that's like
Oh,
what you do, you know? Like,
yeah. So, but I'm, like I said, objectively looking at myself, not doing the best, but I'm trying.
Okay. That's honesty, and we thank you for that. Andrew and Christian, what are you guys doing to, Andrew, you touched on some before, but tell us what you guys are doing, trying to do to prepare yourself positively, to prepare yourself for the new normal, or when we turn back to a sense of normalcy.
positively nothing. I've been sleeping at 2 o'clock. I've acted like it's summer because we just started our classes back today. So on top of our spring break, we had 2 weeks that we just weren't doing anything. And during those 2 weeks, I kind of panicked because I thought we were going to be having Zoom meetings and stuff like that, and I couldn't find none on my iCollege. I was distraught. But then I realized we didn't have school again until today. But honestly, I'm trying. I'm really trying to get over my procrastination, and it's not working. It's not working at all.
It's not working.
But
Have you tried to give yourself, what about deadlines? Do deadlines help you?
I mean, the deadline is why I procrastinate. Like, knowing the deadline, it's like, okay, I got 2 weeks, and then I'm like, my gosh, I have 5 hours. And it's like, but I feel like because of the fact that classes have started back again, I'm going to be, focusing on, because I was doing homework sparingly, and just the assignments that I caught up on my assignments, so I'm pretty good, but I always feel like there's something I'm missing, because that's just the trauma a college student goes through. And even now, I feel like there's something I have to be doing, even though I don't remember anything new popping up on my thing. And like one thing I know, like Emmanuel was talking about how with his major is theater, my major is music. And if I'm not in the same room as the instrument I'm playing, if I'm not in the same room as the instrument I'm learning how to play, it's going to be very difficult for me to answer my teacher's questions. We have to figure out intervals, or if he plays something a certain way, I have to annotate it with the dynamics that go with it. If I can't readily hear because I'm hearing it through a speaker and not through the natural airwaves that it's coming through, it's difficult for me to learn that way. And I don't do well learning on my own anyway. I do better learning amongst other people because I get to pick their brains and I get to see, what it is. I'm like, okay, that sounds, I can add that to my repertoire of whatever information I need.
Mm-hmm.
And I work way better in groups because I'm just naturally like that. I'm a natural. I feel like I'm only an introvert if I don't know you. So if I get to know you, I'm gonna start talking. I don't know why, but I just do. And being at home, it's like I can't ask my family for help, but they can't help me. They're gonna tell me what scale I'm in. Like they don't know that stuff. So I really just want to, use the time that what I've already been doing is really just making more music, practicing. So when I decide to step out and do my whole entrepreneur thing and full-time content making and stuff like that, I'll be more prepared for it.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to pray for you to get some motivation and a little less procrastination. All right, Christian.
I'm just being optimistic that we'll have some sense of normalcy once all of this is over, but I guess we'll see. We're just hoping we can have a summer.
Oh, I'm happy.
I believe we'll have a summer.
Hey, let us back out before the summer.
I believe we'll have a summer.
And
optimism is good.
Me.
Optimism aligned with our faith and continuing to be, encouraged. And just because you have faith doesn't mean you might have not a moment of, Lord Jesus, enough is enough, or when is this going to be? It doesn't mean that you're not going to have a moment or two of that. I mean, come on, that's normal, but we want to continue to lift you guys up in all of these areas and we're asking those who are watching to, if you can just pray for our youth in the areas that they talked about, to be able to prepare. So our next question is, what resources can be provided to assist you guys as our youth during this time? And it's funny that Sister Doris put the same question, and she said, we know that delayed is not denied. What level of support do you all feel you need to help you catapult into your future to reach your goals, or feel that you are one step closer to your dreams? So that's a longer version of what it is that we were already asking you. What do you feel that it could be done to help you? Like Emmanuel, some of the things you was working on post-graduation have been snatched away. You and Ashton are going to continue to apply and try to do things like that for apprenticeship, for internship. But what can anybody that might be listening, because you never know who might be listening to this podcast, or who has a connection to someone that can possibly provide some kind of a resource that can help you? Do you know of anything that could possibly help you right now that is going to help you during this time, or once we're back to our life as normal, or the new normal? Ashton.
Besides, I guess if anybody wants to hook me up with somebody that's in the media field, the broadcast field, journalism, anything like that, that would be great. Because that's what I mean, besides just like making sure I get good grades, my main thing has been, okay, what exactly is my plan for after I graduate? Because now I only have a month, like a little less than a month left to get everything together and figure out, okay, am I going to...
Okay, let me ask you a question. Do you have a lot of field experience?
Yeah, I've been
interviewing.
I have an internship right now with a magazine. I've been doing stories and interviewing people with them for the past like 7 months, and then also
okay.
This team in school.
I know a young man that I want to try to introduce you to. He has been a phenomenal young man. I've watched his journey since we moved down here, and he just became an anchor. He has interned with, Good Morning America, Channel 2 here with Tom Jones and Fred Blankenship and all of those people. And right now he lives out of state because he got a anchor job out of college, a graduate of Georgia State University. And Tony Bennett Jr.
I know him.
Oh, you know Tony Bennett?
Yeah, he was in the broadcast program, and he was part of the national NABJ, the Black Association of Journalists. Yeah, I know him.
Okay. He may be a good resource for you. So, Christian and Andrew, and then Emmanuel, what resources can possibly be provided for you guys? If you know of anything.
Currently, if you want to do my homework or write cover letters for me, because I've now written one, and the devil is a liar that I gotta create one of those for every job I apply for.
Yeah, you do. Yeah, you do. You just gotta tweak it, and I can help you with that. You just gotta tweak it.
I mean, but like, really for me, like, yes, there's the tweak, but even so, there would really have to be two separate base ones, because like I can't like tweak like why I'm a good actor for like why I'm a good like receptionist. Like,
you have to have those various areas, whatever your background is.
That homework. That's not a joke. If anyone wants to do my homework, I
ain't volunteering for that.
They could come straight to me, the source. You don't got the middleman, none of it. You don't have to be smart or really know about theater. I don't care about the grade. I just care about it being done. Outside of that
much work, huh?
Yes. Outside of that, I genuinely have no idea of any resource that anyone can give. once we get back to a sense of normalcy, if anyone has any connections with people in film, television, or theater, or music, and can get me a job, or if anyone knows someone who can get me a very, very, very cheap apartment that's not in a projects. Other than those things, I have no idea what resources could be extended. I'd say money, but for what? I can't spend it. I'm not going nowhere. So, yeah, that's pretty much it.
Okay, Andrew and Christian. Christian, you go first.
I don't know. Yeah. If anybody got an education plug, I'd love to be in education right now. That way I have to go to work, but sit up on Google Meet and have the kids just watch me teach. But other than that, yeah, I'm not sure.
Okay, Andrew.
If you got money that isn't currently being quarantined, that's
Put your cash app. Put your cash app in the link. Put your cash app in the comments.
I can think of right now.
No, seriously, y'all all put y'all cash apps in this thing.
The chat.
It's $ St. Lions.
Put it in there.
I don't know where that is.
Are you able to type comments in the chat?
I think so.
If you don't do it now, when this is over, put your each one of y'all. I have asked these young people to put their cash app in here so that I know some of us may be out of work, but those who may not be, if you can be a blessing to our young people, $5 here, $10 there, $2, $3, it helps them. So these are college and post-college working young men, and some not working. Manuel's schedule is so busy, he cannot hold a job. He's doing after classes, he's in rehearsals from 5:30 to 10 p.m. Monday through Friday for 3 months span. And then the last 3 or 4 weeks doing tech run till 11 p.m. Then he got to come home and do homework with classes and papers. He cannot hold a job.
And that's got kiss rehearsal.
Yeah. A lot of other stuff, so he has not been able to work. I've been his source of income. So please be a blessing to these young people if you're able to and you desire to. They're going to put their cash. Andrew already put his in there. Emmanuel, Ashton, Christian, put your cash apps in there.
I'm trying to figure out how to do it. Sorry.
Okay, Christian. And Drew, go ahead. What resource? You said money. So
besides money, that's really all that would help me, because at the moment I'm not working, so all the money that I was using to finance my music making is now stopped. So I'm kind of at a place where I was methodically, with each check, putting so and so here, so and so there, so I could, get certain programs and then save up for the bigger ones or the better ones that most of the industry people who are in the industry use. So aside from that, if you know anybody who makes music or needs music, and I mean like beats and things like that, or needs an engineer, that would be helpful for me. Anybody willing to support and use my services.
Okay, awesome. We're coming to almost the close of our podcast. So our last 2 questions we're going to combine them. It was, what remaining comments would you like to share? And how can people contact you and or follow you on your social media? So combine those 2 with one closing statement, please. Ashton?
I would just say, everybody, be sure you continue to pray as always. Nobody needs to be scared, but we can all still be as cautious as we can. And, just make sure you don't do anything crazy. Wash your hands, social distance, all that regular stuff that they keep telling us to do. And I'm praying, just like everybody else, that this will be over sooner than later. But y'all can follow me on Instagram at Ashton Gates with 2 S's, and Twitter at Ash Gets the News.
Ashton Gates with 2 S's
Yes.
on Instagram, and Twitter is what?
Ash, ASH, Gets the News.
Ash Gets her news?
The News.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
Okay. Emmanuel?
Be safe. I don't really know what to give as a final comment. Yeah, just be safe.
I mean, if there's anything else that you wanted to say that we didn't cover.
I mean, not really.
Okay.
I think the people who, and like, this is hard to say because like people have their own mental like situations, but I think if you're someone who like this is taking a very massive toll on your mental health, whether that's anxiety, depression, whatever the case may be, do not do your best to adhere to all the advice and requirements or new social rules, but don't sacrifice your mental health for that. I know that I have a lot of friends that are personal, like people who mentally rely on social interaction. Without it, they start to literally like break down. Who like are having a really tough time right now, So I think like just if this is taking a toll on your mental health, like don't sacrifice your mental health. That doesn't mean like throw parties, or be irresponsible. But it means that like don't, hurt yourself because of this pandemic. Yeah. And outside of that, stay safe. Don't do drugs. Stay in touch.
Where can people find you?
And you can follow me on Instagram at the Even Saint or at Lions_Emmanuel_. One's like more so for just my music, the other one's for everything I do. So like music, acting, writing, being a human being. Yeah, but follow me on both, and then that way you'll never miss anything. And Facebook, Staying Even, YouTube, Staying Even. Find my music and stream it wherever you stream music. Just search Staying Even. Yeah.
Okay. Andrew and Christian, where can we find you? And any last comment?
Oh, I'll start with my last comments. I would say everybody be safe, be smart, and not your definition of smart, like actually smart. And make sure that you can not only use this time to further your spiritual relationship with God and your physical relationship with the people in your house, because a lot of times people don't like the people they live with, and we need to address that in another podcast. We ain't gonna talk about that right now. And you can find me at Instagram and Twitter. They are both Skip to My Shoe with the _ afterwards.
Say the Skip to My Shoe is the _ is afterwards.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. Lastly, Christian.
I guess my last comment is just to reiterate: stay safe. Use common sense. You don't really have to be afraid, because there's really nothing to be afraid of. And in the same breath, Spirit of Truth has a series, Faith Over Fear and Fighting Fear. One is on Facebook, the other one is on YouTube. And then you can follow me on Instagram at _CB03. And on Twitter, I don't tweet. I just retweet stuff. So, I mean, there's really no point in following me.
Okay. Okay. So we did pretty good. As far as time, we slated for 9:30. It's 9:32. I just want to thank you guys. Thank you so much for taking this time to do Youth Speak Out podcast. A prophetess Carla Clark is on. She said, "Love this. You all are amazing." Sister Selena is on. She's saying hi. It's good to see you, Ashton. She said, Doris has put some of your information in the feed for people to be able to contact you. Thank you so much, Doris. I want to thank our panel tonight, Christian and Andrew Buckmeyer, Ashton Gates, and my own son. Christian and Andrew Buckmeyer are my nephews, my dynamic nephews, and Ashton, wonderful, beautiful young lady who we know from church, and just a beautiful spirit, spirited young lady who we worked with before on our podcast, and glad to have her back again. And of course, my son, Emmanuel Lyons, aka St. Even, who is a staple of this work. And I want to congratulate you all and thank you for sharing your heart. You know, we try to make this a safe space for you guys so that you can be able to share how you feel, how things are impacting you as youth. And we pray that we have done you justice tonight and given you this platform to be able to share how COVID-19, the world pandemic, stay home, social distancing, whole scenario has impacted you, how you feel about it, and so forth. We pray that God keeps us all safe. We know that we are covered under the blood of Jesus, and that we do not fear, but we believe and we have faith that God is going to bring us through safely, and that those who have been afflicted with this virus will come out on the other side, and that the deaths will stop and the spread will stop. And we will all do our part to be able to be in compliance with not only the laws of the land, but to use wisdom. Okay. Pastor Carla, Prophet Carla said, thank you for sharing for the young. Oh, you're welcome, Pastor Carla. Dara said, Christian, can you please repeat your information so she can put it down?
Oh, it's at _CB03 on Instagram.
And Naquana said, this was dope. Loved it. Linda Platt said, awesome podcast. Prophet Carla Clark said, dynamic nephews. So thank you, everyone that joined. Please support the work that we're doing in the community. Please share this broadcast. If you have young people who can be nominees for our Healing Pain Through the Arts Teen Spotlight Awards, we have rescheduled that for Saturday, September the 12th. So we are constantly preparing to be able to be a blessing to 20 and honor 20 young people who have overcome life adversities and are using their gifts and talents to inspire others. Connect with us at www.FromPainToPurpose.net, www.FromPainToPurpose.net is our website, and you can connect with us there on our Facebook page, From Pain to Purpose. Please continue to share and invite people to our Healing Pain Through the Arts page. We're going to be doing a lot to promote the event coming up in September, and we'll be back with more podcasts. You guys, thank you. I love you all. I pray for you and your families, and we will see each other again soon. Our next podcast is going to be Young and Black in America. Make sure you don't miss that. Okay? Signing out, y'all. Peace and much love. Till next time.
Kobe.
Huh?
Definitely R.I.P. Kobe.
Peace, Kobe.
R.I.P. Kobe, Gianni, and all the non-victims. And everyone that's lost their life. Oh, we want to say breathe bam. Before we end, we want to say breathe bam. Breathe Bam. Please pray for Bam, Kevin Pensil. He's a youth well, he's a young adult up in New York City. One of the young men that grew up with my daughters. He's in their age range. He is fighting for his life. We believe that he's coming through and making strength, but him and his brother have been stricken, and he's on a ventilator right now, fighting for his life. But we've been praying and speaking Breathe Bam, and we're praying for everyone. There's so many deaths, not just from COVID-19, but every time I turn around, somebody else is losing a parent or someone else is dying. We cover everyone in Jesus' name, and we just ask God. We know death is a part of life, but it's just a lot during this time. So, Emmanuel, you wanted to say something else?
Oh, yeah, I just said rest in peace, Pop Smoke.
Okay. All right. Well, thank you guys. Thank you everybody for tuning in. Have a wonderful night. Please share the broadcast even after this is done. You guys share. Thank you. I love you all.
Quan, I can't wait to be back in the basement in the studio.
Okay. Once social distancing is over.
Right.
All right. Peace out. Thanks, Ashton.
Thank you.
Oh, how we?